What if the moon had its own moon? Let's imagine a quiet evening. You're walking home, staring up at the sky, thinking about goals, groceries, or how you forgot to reply to that one text 5 days ago. And then you stop. You blink. There, in the night sky, hanging just beside the moon, is another tiny glowing dot. It's circling the moon, not Earth, the moon. Congratulations, you've just discovered the moon's moon. At first, it would probably look cute, like a baby moon, a mini-me. But the moment you start thinking about it scientifically, you realize just how weird and, honestly, how ridiculous the idea is. Because space doesn't do cute without consequences. First of all, for the moon to have a moon, let's call it moonlit, because why not? It would have to be caught in a very delicate dance. The moon is already orbiting Earth, so for Moonlet to orbit the moon and not get stolen by Earth's gravity or yeeted into space, it would have to be very close to the moon, but not too close. If it's too close, the moon's own gravity might shred it apart like cosmic pulled pork. There's a name for this invisible shredding zone. It's called the Roche Limit. If a moonlet dips inside that, gravity doesn't just tug on it, it tears it to pieces. So Moonlet would need to orbit just outside that limit, but also not so far away that Earth's gravity rips it away like a jealous third wheel. Assuming we found that sweet spot, a narrow orbital tightrope, what would life on Earth be like? Well, for one, the night sky would be different. Every few nights, you'd see a tiny moon orbiting our moon, sometimes passing in front of it like a little pet rock doing tricks. Children would name it, poets would write about it, conspiracy theorists would lose their minds. But things would get more interesting and chaotic from there. The moon is not just a pretty light in the sky, it's our planet's gravitational dance partner. It controls the tides, helps stabilize Earth's tilt, and might even have helped early life get its start in shallow tidal pools. So, what happens when the moon gets its own companion? Tides, for one, might get weirder. If the moonlet is big enough, let's say the size of a large asteroid, it could start tugging on the moon, ever so slightly. That could, in turn, affect how the moon tugs on Earth. The result? Tides that sometimes surge just a bit higher or arrive a little earlier than usual. Sailors might curse the double moon drag. Surfers might love it. Coastal engineers might have a nervous breakdown. But the real problem might be orbital chaos. Here's the thing about space. It's quiet, but it's not peaceful. Everything is constantly pulling on everything else. Gravity is like that one clingy friend who refuses to let go. And when you have three bodies, Earth, Moon, and Moonlet, all tugging on each other, things can get unstable. It's called the three-body problem, and it's so complicated that we still don't have a general solution for it. Eventually, one of three things might happen. Option 1. The moonlet spirals inward. It gets too close to the moon, crosses the Roche limit, and turns into a glorious ring of debris, a lunar Saturn, beautiful, deadly, and temporary. Option 2. Earth wins the custody battle. The moonlet gets pulled out of its lunar orbit and becomes a mini-moon of Earth, like a lost kitten adopted by a much bigger cat. It might orbit us for a while, then burn up in the atmosphere like a shooting star nobody saw coming. Option 3. The moonlet escapes entirely, flown into space like a cosmic slingshot, forever wandering, with no moon to call home. Space is lonely like that. But let's rewind. What if, somehow, against all odds, the moonlet stuck around for billions of years? What if it became a permanent feature of our skies? In that case, Earth might have a more complex lunar calendar. Farmers could track not just full moons, but double moons, times when the moonlet is also full or eclipsed. eclipse patterns themselves could become more frequent and complicated. Instead of just solar and lunar eclipses, we might have moon-moon eclipses, where the moonlet passes in front of the moon, creating a tiny, adorable shadow. Science fiction would go wild. Werewolves would be extra confused, and astrologers, don't even get me started, your horoscope would now depend on the position of the moonlet in your birth chart. You're a Gemini rising with a waning moonlet in retrograde? Good luck with that. But perhaps the most poetic part of all this is how it would change our sense of place. The moon is humanity's oldest companion. We've gazed at it, written about it, reached for it, and finally landed on it. It's been a symbol of constancy in a chaotic universe. Now imagine that if that moon had a little companion of its own, a tiny, loyal traveler silently circling it night after night, a reminder that even the things we thought were alone in the cosmos might not be. Maybe that's the real reason we love this thought experiment. It's not just science, it's a little story about companionship, about orbits, about how even the moon, that silent sentinel in our sky, might be part of something bigger or smaller than itself. And maybe, just maybe, when you look up at the sky and see that second little glimmer circling the moon, you'll smile. Not because it changes the tides or the calendar or the math, but because it reminds you that even in the cold vacuum of space, nothing ever really travels alone.